Water is life. Hello, my name is Barbara Eden. I am an educator at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. I will be your guide today for your virtual tour called Water is Life. Before we begin our tour, take a minute to grab a pencil and paper for some activities that we will do together during the tour. Just press pause to hold the video. When you have your paper and pencil, just hit pause again to start the tour where you left off. Let's first review the key ideas of water is life. We all need clean water to live, and that includes not only people, but all plants and animals. It is an essential resource. Think to yourself, how do we use water? How do animals use water? How do plants use water? Water has special properties. It changes forms. To yourself, name the different forms of water. On our tour today, we will be looking at 6 artworks from the collection of the Minneapolis Institute of Art, all of which illustrate these key ideas. We will look closely at each of the artworks to figure out what we see and what it says about the importance of water. I will be asking you throughout the tour to look closely at the artworks. Please feel free to pause whenever you need so you can look as long as you like. I will also be asking you a few questions at each artwork. You can talk about your answers with others around you, or you can answer them in your mind if you are watching this alone. What do the words "water is life" mean to you? A few years ago, for many Dakota and Lakota people fighting for water rights on their lands, the words "water is life" became a way of expressing the danger posed by running oil pipelines through their land. They raised awareness across the country about our responsibility to keep water clean and healthy for all the people, plants, and animals that rely on it. The concept, however, was not new. Think about the importance of water to all living things. To many Native Americans, water is more than life. Water is a sacred medicine. They give thanks and love to water because without it, there is no life. Many Native American artworks at the Minneapolis Institute of Art were made to contain and celebrate water. The first artwork on our tour comes from a part of the United States called the Mississippian region. A Native American Quapaw artist made it over 500 years ago. The Quapaw migrated from the Ohio Valley in the Midwest by traveling down the Mississippi River to an area that is now the state of Arkansas. The artist made this vessel with clay from the earth, which was mixed with, guess what? Water, and formed by hand into this marvelous shape. This is called a 3-dimensional artwork because it is not flat like some of the paintings we will see later. Imagine holding it in both hands. Take a moment. Pause the video if you'd like and look closely at this artwork. How would you describe this animal? What are some of its features that you are noticing? This is one of the primary beings in the ancient Mississippian belief system called an underwater panther. The underwater panther belonged to an underwater world and possessed great supernatural power. The prominent swirling pattern on its sides signifies water, while the eye markings allude to the animal's unusually keen vision. What colors do you see? Red and white were symbolic of opposing forces in nature. Think about light versus dark, or being above the water and then below the water. Again, pause the video, get your paper and pencil, and draw your own animal-shaped vessel. Unpause the video, when you are finished with your creation. Here's another water vessel from hundreds of years ago. To yourself, think about all of the decisions artists make when they make water containers. Think about the purposes, the size, shape, design, and usefulness of materials like metal, clay, glass, or stone. They need to figure out when creating vessels to hold water. An artist to the king of Benin created this water container in the shape of a leopard. It was made hundreds of years ago and comes from the Benin Kingdom in West Africa. Water was extremely important and valuable to sustain the kingdom. This vessel was used to wash the king's or Oba's hands during ceremonies celebrating his father who ruled before he did. Look closely at this special water vessel. Notice the hole in the top of the leopard's head. That's where the water was poured into. When court attendants tipped the leopard so that the Oba could wash his hands, the water came out of its nostrils. Take a moment, pause the video if you'd like, and look closely at this artwork. Look closely at the leopard and imagine holding it. It is about the size of a medium cat. Start at the tips of its ears, down its long face and nose. Go past those sharp teeth and down its spotted chest. Travel across its big claws. What did you notice? How do you think it would feel if you could touch it? What do you see that makes you say that? Take a moment to look slower. What was the first thing you noticed about this leopard? Why? What details are you seeing on the second or third look? How did the artist draw your attention to those details? It is made out of a hard, durable material called bronze. Some people call it an aquamanile. What do you suppose that word means? The beginning of the word is aqua, a Latin word meaning water. What other words start with aqua? What is an aquarium? Leopards are highly respected big cats that can strike fear into the heart of their enemies. It is a leader in the animal kingdom, having such qualities as strength, ferocity, and intelligence. Why do you think the Oba would want to use the leopard as his symbol? He even had live leopards captured and tamed. He kept them at the royal palace and paraded them on leashes during royal processions. What might you feel or think about if you were at a parade like this? Our next artwork is hundreds of years old and shows many different ways people in a town in Italy used water. Get ready to figure out all of the ways. Find the street market and figure out who is selling what. People are engaged in a variety of activities requiring water. Name some of the things that the people are doing. Look up in the sky to see something magical and mystical. That is Neptune, the ancient god of the sea. How is he pictured? Now, I would like you to pause the video. Use your imagination to draw your favorite fish. It can be a simple copy of what you see in the work of art, or the fish you draw might be scary looking or funny looking. Maybe you want to draw a beautiful fancy fish. What is going on in this picture? Again, we see some fishing vessels, but these look different. They are not in a quiet harbor, but located offshore in a heavy sea. How can you tell it is from a long time ago? Imagine if you were on one of the boats. How would it feel and sound? Make those sounds and motions while you are looking. Find a boat that appears to be going to help. Before airplanes, ships were the best way to get from one place to another. Ships had to be engineered and built to traverse the water and carry large amounts of cargo. The world is made up of 5 oceans, covering 71% of the planet. Oceans provide valuable resources like food, minerals, and oil. How is water depicted here as both powerful and dangerous? Are you noticing the winds? How about the waves and currents? To yourself, describe the sky and remember how it appears, because we are going to compare this sky to the sky in our next slide. Look at the sky. In your mind, give a weather report. Then compare it to what we saw in the Heavy Seas painting. What is happening on the ground? What form of water is depicted, and how does it happen? Liquid form of water changes to snow and ice when the temperature drops. Snow acts as insulation in the winter, and it melts into water in the spring. Think about animals and what you know about hibernation during the winter. Focus on the box and the brown bear. Cream of wheat is a dry cereal mixed with boiling water and cooked until thick and creamy. It's so yummy, it brings a bear out of hibernation to eat. In your mind, describe the landscape. Notice how it is barren except for tree stumps and evergreens. No other plants because they are covered with snow. Find the signature of the artist in the lower corner. He was known for depicting realistic wildlife. Notice how very real looking the brown bear is. A lot of artists like Goodwin make close observations of nature to create their images. He was paid by the Minneapolis Cream of Wheat Company to paint this as an ad for their cereal, and it originally hung in their offices. If you were to come to Mia to see this in person, you might spy other paintings in the same gallery that were also Cream of Wheat ads. Let's pause this video and take a minute to get those wiggles out. Move around your room like a big brown bear, exploring and finding food. Here is something from China. We are exploring Chinese Taihu rocks through a window in a scholar's study. The rocks are called Taihu because they are from the Taihu Lake. Strangely shaped rocks are an important physical and symbolic element in Chinese gardens. The pores, the holes, and strange forms of these limestone rocks were naturally molded through erosion by flowing water and acidic soil. Think about the word erosion and what else might be eroded. The more eccentric the rock, the more it was prized. Consider how sea life might make use of this type of rock in Taihu Lake for their homes and for protection and play. Chinese scholars and their friends would imagine they were super small and walking around in the rocks as though exploring a mountain. How do you think it would feel to walk around in one of these mountain rocks shaped by water? Pause the video and draw your own fantastic rock. We've seen how humans use water and depend on it. What do you wonder about water? What are some new words you've learned? What else did you learn? We know that humans, plants, and animals all need water to live. We need to protect this precious resource so that clean water is available for us, as well as all the animals and plants on our earth. Thanks for joining me today on our Water is Life virtual tour. Bye.